Yes. Everyone hear me all right? Cool, excellent. Good afternoon, guys. Oh, that's a bit of an odd kind of a screen, but that'll do. Good afternoon. My name is Charan, and I represent Creately. Creately, some of you may know, some of you may not, is essentially a simple, easily used online diagramming application for project teams. Now, one of the reasons we're here today, in fact, the most important reason we're here today, is because Creately is now available on the Google Marketplace. And we're really excited about that. And I'm going to share today, just about 20 minutes, so not a lot of time, but I'm going to run through very quickly what Creately is. Then, do I need this? Do I really need that? No, right? I need it. Yeah. All right, I'm going to try it. That's much better. Okay, so I'm going to run through very quickly, show you what Creately is, show you how it can actually be used by developers. In fact, it's really, really focused at developers. And then after that, maybe spend another 5 to 7 minutes and talk a little bit about what we learned about getting on the apps marketplace. All right, so we'll just kick in right out of the way. All right, very quickly, just a short introduction. Creately, we started about 2.5 years ago when I was in Australia. Me and my two partners, we were in Melbourne University. We got together and decided, you know what, there's a problem that needed to be solved, and the problem was in visual collaboration. If you look up there, we basically define ourselves as specialists in software visual collaboration, or visual collaboration generally. And I'll go into the rest of that later. For now, let's just go into the quick situation as we saw it 2.5 years ago. Basically, what we found was that there's a whole host of diagramming applications out there. We saw the market divided in two. On one end of it were the simple diagramming kind of applications that allow you to do funny diagrams and LOL cats and all of that stuff. And on the other end of the spectrum, you had your really elaborate software modeling tools and diagramming applications. So Rational might be one of them, and a whole bunch of others. Essentially, what we found was a lot of these tools, firstly, were not really collaborative. So they really didn't help a team work together. And as we noticed, more and more software teams and teams in general, project teams, were getting distributed. And how are we getting the messages across? It was not working so well. Also, a lot of these tools, especially on the right side of the spectrum, big, bulky tools, were difficult to use, fairly expensive, and always required training. You couldn't just hand it over to someone and say, hey, start drawing something. The guy would be like, whoa, what's going on? More importantly, inflexible, and of course, at the end, they were usually, as I said, always text-based. And this is what some of the problems that we saw as well, right? Projects were getting longer, less communication, more misunderstanding, harder to get people onboarded. So that was some of the problems, and nobody really wanted to document at all. And we thought about it, we thought about the problem for a while, and we realized that software developers actually really do think visually. A lot of us, we go up to whiteboard, we love to put a sketch up there. Or we sit down with our peer programmer, or whatever it is, and we're sketching on a napkin, we're sketching, we're always sketching. So we really needed to try and give the developer or people that ability to do this quickly and easily, right? So here's just some of the times that you guys actually would have used the diagram, right? Looking at code, trying to understand what's going on, going through a review. All of these are situations that you come across almost every day. So we came about and we say, okay, let's define the product. And we define it as a very easy to use web-based collaboration tool for diagrams, right? It comes with an extensive set of shapes and templates that allow you to get ramped up very quickly. So we're talking shapes from everything from UML to mockups to sorry, I already said that, flowcharts, as well as other business kind of charts and diagrams. Easy to use. We've got about 50,000 people using it today, and they love using it because it's so goddamn easy to use. And it's really been designed with software teams in mind. And last of all, of course, it's in the cloud. So that's what we're really excited about. It's really not meant to be a product for a large enterprise to be using to do their software modeling. It's really meant for the 5 billion, Fortune 5 billion companies. Many of you might work for them, many of you might run your own, and it's really targeted at that. Not going to go into too much of this, but I think I already explained this. Let's jump very quickly to the demo. Alrighty. Now, before we go there, let me show you what the normal workflow would be, right? So this is Google. Of course, as we know, if it's integrated, it simply comes out up there. I hope you can see I've got Aviary as well out there, ManyMoon, all these things that we use, Social Walk, one of our simple guys, and of course Creatly listed up there as well. So the minute you click in, I'm not going to do it from here because it's going to load. I don't have a live setup. But that should immediately, automatically log you into Creately using Google ID. And that should take you to this screen. Oops. Come on. Oh, here we go. Is it clear? Alrighty. So I'm just going to run you through very quickly what we can do. I'm just going to start with a very simple, new, say, a sitemap. As you see, when you come into Creately, you get a whole selection of ready-made templates and diagram types to choose from. So if you can basically choose from anything from UML, database designs, web designs, flowcharts, a whole bunch of those of them are available there. I'm going to just start with a random flowchart, for example. Add your tags, and good to go. And it creates either a ready-made template or you can start using your own. Now, I'm just going to show you why it's easy to use very quickly. Essentially, on the top, you'll see the basic capabilities. On the left, you see a whole range of shapes and objects that you can use as part of your diagrams. And there are a whole lot more as well stashed away in here. A whole lot more that you can just load up and pick and choose. So it's really, really easy, and it's really, really, seems to be working fine and fast as well. I'm live, by the way, right now connected. Just checking. Alrighty, so now on the left, as I said, are the shapes. On the top are the main items. And on the right, what's interesting is all of these other capabilities we've built in. The ability to add data to your diagrams, meaning if you're drawing a UML use case, you can add actors, you can add the specifications in there, you can add hyperlinks to your diagrams. Let me just show you an example of that in a bit. You can have comments, sharing, and of course, shortcut keys that are most essential if you want to get this working. Now, this is an interesting feature. This is what we call the contextual toolbar. And it really allows you to get stuff going very quickly. So I can really quickly create decision symbols, create any kind of new symbols, and just add and draw. And of course, the kind of flexibility we offer in terms of, fully functional kind of diagramming UI. Just end click, start typing, tap, and you're good to go. It's really that simple. Now let's take a step back. I'm going to now take a hypothetical case and assume that we're working on a little project, right? So I've got a little Google site that we often use internally, and I'm working on an admin page right on the extreme corner. You'll see an admin page. So I've created this sitemap from Creately. It's one simple little copy and paste to insert it in here. We're hoping to get to better integration soon as well. Now from here, I want to start adding things like my use case and all of that. Let's go back to Creately very quickly. And I'm going to be able to see my document manager. Now this is really the heart of Creately, right? I started with a new diagram, but this is really the heart of Creately. This is where all of your diagrams are organized by your projects. So I could be working on this user management project right now. All of your tags are there. You're able to filter through all the diagrams that you want to have, and then select. Now let's start with that sitemap again. Oh, diagram's open. Here we go. So this is the sitemap diagram that I had earlier. You'll notice there are interesting little icons that represent data. You'll notice this blue little feature that allows you to actually build direct links. So your sitemap can link out to other diagrams as well as to actual web pages, which is great. Alright, now what I want to really show you is the ability to link all of these artifacts. So it gives you a real good idea of what's going on. So someone started work on the admin pages, I did. First thing I thought, let me just come up with some use cases. I built the use cases and I linked them directly to the diagram. Now from this, I've added a couple of comments here so that my developer knows what exactly he needs to do. Anyone can simply add in more comments right here. And there's a whole chain. It can be either specific to an object or discussing the entire diagram. And likewise, now I want to assume I've done a little mock-up as well. I can build mock-ups. I can go further, discuss anything that I want, go back up, look at all of these comments, choose to share this diagram either with my team, everyone on my team, or copy this. Now what I want to do is, this diagram is published. A published diagram is publicly available. I simply need to copy this link, go back to my Google Sites, and edit this page. That should do. And I'm just going to insert the image right here. There you go. So it's really, really that simple to very quickly do up your documentation, link it all up, be it mockups, be it use cases, be it UML standards, whatever that you need to do, and then very quickly tie it back into this. Now I'm just looking at my watch. I think I've spent about 10 minutes. I won't go into too much detail any further, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them later, and also show you some other examples. These are just some of the designs that we've done, just some samples that we've got out here, right? The beauty is, and where it comes in, the intuitiveness of it, is things like that. If you've got an interface, it tries to guess what you're trying to do. So for example, if I took this away, and I tried to make a connection here, connect this to this, and if it knows it's an, sorry, wrong direction. Yeah. And if it knows it's an interface and it's a class, then it's going to try to guess the kind of relationship it has, and essentially put it out there and let you change it quite easily. So enough of that. I'm now going to go back to the slide deck. Done. And talk a little bit about, okay, we know about this, about why we use Greatly, about the fact that there's data and behavior and automatic spell checking and intelligent features we've built in. But more interestingly, I want to talk about who we are, who our customers are, and why we chose to work on Google Apps, right? So number one, essentially as we started building Greatly and putting it out in the market, what we found was a lot of software teams, design shops, freelancers, outsourcing teams, product development teams, and as well as schools were really, really adopting Greatly very quickly. And all of these were not large corporations, but really small mom and pop shops perhaps, or 10-man teams, 15-man teams, 20-man teams. So it's a very interesting opportunity that we had, and we really decided to focus on it. And then, of course, Google opens up its doors. And we were really excited about it initially, right? We thought, all right, guys, Google's opened this up. It means we have access to their millions and millions of users. And we thought about it and we say, is this the right move? Will our customers want to see Greatly on Google? There are a couple of questions we asked. How much of a match are our customer, our target customers, to Google's customers, right? And in our heads, we thought, well, we got the impression that Google had a whole bunch of large enterprises that they were working with as part of the platform, right? So, okay, that sounded like we could try that. Next, we also thought about whether this would bring in new customers. And we thought, great, new segment, there's a larger companies that we can attack through the platform, why not give it a try? We also decided to check out the competitive environment. There was absolutely no one else doing this within the Google Apps marketplace, so it was a brilliant opportunity. And the other question that was very important, will people pay for Greatly on apps? Now that's something that all of us really need to think very hard about. And I'll go into it a little bit later, right? And finally, was it easy to integrate? Let's answer some of those questions. Number one, was it easy to integrate? Yes, it was very easy to integrate. So we took a simple approach, right? We decided, let's not get carried away. Let's just do the most simple thing first. So we started with integrated, federated login. Basically, OpenID, login with that. It took us no more than 2 to 3 days, get it deployed and out in production. It was ready to go. The APIs were great, documentation were great. We managed to get in touch with a whole bunch of people in Google who were, willing to help and guide us along as well. So, and there's a lot more we can do, but we started just with that initially. Next question we asked ourselves, there's no one else who's doing this on Google Apps, but how much will people pay for it, right? So we started by not making any distinction between our product that we have online and the product on the Google Apps Marketplace. We did just that. We charged $9.95 or something to that price and put it on. And we went through, jumped around, trying to figure out how we could get this out there. And of course, they pointed us up to this brilliant resource, which is the Marketplace Marketing website, which I suggest if any one of you is thinking about putting up an apps application, have a look at that. Some useful resources, as well as we managed to get in touch with some of the people who run the program, so they were able to give us some tips. But when we launched, this is what happened. Lots and lots of installs, lots and lots of users, but no one's paying, man. No one's really paying. Like, what the hell happened? It was perfect. It was perfect. No one was there. There was no competition. It's a great product. People love it. What went wrong? So we thought about it. And we thought about what could have possibly, for lack of better words, how do we screw ourselves? And figured out quite simply a couple of things. Number one, the pricing model, right? What's wrong with the pricing model? We were charging $9.95 per user per month when Google is giving away the entire suite for $50 a year. Doesn't make sense now, does it? Now, I got a couple of irate customers call me and say, what are you trying to do? $9.95? I paid $50 for an entire, for the whole year. So that didn't make sense, and we learned very quickly. Then the other question that was really intriguing for us is, who are Google's customers? Are they these large enterprises that have suddenly adopted Google Apps? That's what we thought, and that's why we positioned for that. But what we did, we got out there and we started talking. We started talking to as many admins as we could find, as many of our users. We started grabbing hold of anyone in Google who would speak with us, and we looked at all our data. We looked at everything we could possibly look at and tried to figure out what went wrong. And what we found out, thanks to Google, was that in reality, most people on Google Apps have less than 10 people on their team, right? So if you're thinking of building an app for the larger play, sorry, this is not official, this is just me saying it. So don't take my word for gospel, these guys will verify that. But nevertheless, this is what we've learned, right? And essentially, most of the Google Apps customers have less than 10 users, right? If you think about it, how do you need to then price and position your product if they're not going to be large enterprises? They are very, very similar to who we were aiming for as Creately, the online application. So we started thinking about that. Also, the other thing we found out was make the app admin your best friend. If you piss him off, you're dead, man. You've got to make it as simple as possible, as easy as possible for him to, number one, add the app. And number two, manage the users. You know what they hate? They hate the fact that they cannot budget for their infrastructure. If you tell them, you know what, I'm going to charge you $10, and as users come on, it's going to keep adding $10, they're like, dude, that's not going to work, man. They're like, give me a flat price, I'll buy it. So think about all these kind of things. This is very, very important when it comes down to actual companies buying your product. Next, what we decided next is we figured all of this stuff out. We realized people on Google Apps were not just software developers as well. People who wanted to use Creately for just flowcharting, or just drawing fun stuff, or general business diagrams. But we couldn't possibly sell them a $2 product and devalue our $10 product. I know it's only $10, but it still hurts. We couldn't do that. So what did we decide to do? We decided it was possible to actually price discriminate, right? Build spin-off products, rebrand them, rename them, water them down a little bit, and try and do that. So that's essentially what we've done next, or we're in the process of doing right now. And basically put it across as two separate products. One was a lower, simpler, easy to use, aimed at the smaller businesses, and the other one really aimed at our core target market, which is the software developers. And last but not least, the other thing that's very interesting is when you launch something on Google Apps, it's great, right? You get this spike. I'm sure all of you have heard of the CC bump or whatever you want to call it. Now we've seen the Google Apps bump as well, right? We launch and you get this major installs, and then Scott McMullen, I think, wrote to me about 4 weeks after our launch, said, have you noticed your installation rate has gone down? Like that. So it's continued, sustained marketing, and you have to keep at it. If you think you can put an app there and think it's just going to keep selling on its own, fine. You get great reviews, that's very important, but you've got to keep pushing it out there. That's really important, and I think that's where the marketing block also really comes in handy. Right, so what does the future hold? Oh, perfect. So we still, after all of this, trials and tribulations of being on that marketplace, we still believe in it. We really believe, and in fact, we've just heard about Chrome Store again, so that's picking up steam, I heard. So I'm really excited about that as well. But what we realized is, if you're going to be entering these marketplaces, be conscious of the market environment. Meaning, if Google's charging $50 a year, don't try to charge $100 a year. Doesn't make sense. Sometimes I hate Google for that, but what do you do? Next, better integration. We definitely can do a lot more. There's a whole lot of API that we can plug into, and we want to do that, which is next on the list, around better integration for workflow, perhaps even starting a pop-up creating documents within the docs view, list view. And of course, as I said, make the admin your best friend, so a lot better user management as well. Now, I'm going to be around for the rest of the day, so not really, maybe the rest of half the day. And I would really, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you have ever used or think it might be useful, let me know how you think we can actually really add value in terms of integrating better into Google Apps, the Google Apps Marketplace and the Google Apps platform in general. We think it's a great place to be. We would have done it differently, but we definitely have done it, and we're committed to the marketplace. Anything else? Let's see what else is there. That's about it, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I managed to keep it in time. Go check out creately.com and bit.ly/createlyGApps. That's our installation. Thank you.